Supposedly grown, supposedly grown, supposedly grown, supposedly grown. Supposedly grown.
Hello there, listeners. Hopefully this is the beginning of a long-standing podcast. It is Friday, April 5th, 2019. And I will be your first host. I'm going to leave my name out of it. I'll let you know, though, that I am a 29-year-old beast of a male. I have been married for probably about 5 or 6 years. Please don't tell my wife that I don't know the actual time because then I'll get in trouble. But I will let you know that I have one daughter who is about 2 years old. She'll be turning another year of age when her birthday comes up. You know when that happens because that'd be weird.
That would be kind of strange.
Yeah. At the same time, while I do have one daughter, I have another one on the way. So that pretty much takes up most of my time. And
If it's going to take all.
I'll pass it on to my co-host over here to let him tell you a little bit about himself.
All right. So I'm a 30-year-old Shrek of a man. I guess that's enough said. No. I have a 3-year relationship. And run for the hills. If you're looking at relationships, run. It'll make you broke, and you're gonna eat different and diet and stuff like that. Run. But if she's listening, I love our relationship and it's going great, and everything is wonderful. You know.
Hopefully, he's not saying that too loud because they are in the other room and most likely they can hear us.
Didn't think about that. Damn it.
While I'm not worried because I'm always in trouble because I'm married, he is in a new relationship and still has to worry about bullshit like not getting vagina. I've grown used to that because I don't get it.
You know, I didn't think about that until right now, and now I'm thinking about that like it's just on a replay in my head.
Yeah, you know what I've grown accustomed to is masturbation.
Already kind of accustomed to it, so
yeah,
it's a lifestyle choice.
That's what homosexuals say.
Whoa, whoa!
Right, let's jump into this a little head first. Not really. Like we're kind of going pelvis first because I like humming stuff. So the basis of this podcast.
What are we about?
Pretty much, this is kind of an excuse for two buddies to hang out on a regular basis. We were looking for an excuse to kind of hang out, talk shit, and bullshit about shit that's going on in the world.
You know, we did this already, but then we were like, oh, wait, we can let other people hear what we say.
That's true.
And it just kind of came up as a natural thing.
Since we're in high school, we always thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if we could record the shit we say when we drink a little bit? And now look at technology.
Yeah, look at us now. Wow.
You know, back in 99, we would have got arrested for this. Mainly because we're fucking goats, but now...
Yeah, I would say that for sure.
Now we're kind of free to fuck goats as we please. Trump's America, right? So, the big thing. Let's see what this podcast is actually going to be about. So, like I said, it's kind of an excuse for two guys to hang out. But we are going to go through some subjects. We'll talk about different things when it comes up. I guess we'll probably be some sports-oriented subjects. We'll talk about a little bit of football, a little bit of baseball, some basketball. One thing we won't talk about, though, is middle school sports, because if we went to the school and tried to record kids, we'd get arrested for pedophilia.
Yeah, don't do that. I would agree on doing that.
You know what,
man?
You know? It's probably not a good decision to record kids in short shorts and tank tops. You know, as free as America is, it's not that free.
It's not that free.
So
we're gonna stay away from that one.
If you're thinking about it, don't think about it. Choose something else. So we'll talk about a range of sports. A big thing we'll talk about is MMA because we're both pretty invested in certain fighters.
Yeah.
And while we don't have experience now in the actual facade of mixed martial arts, we do love watching it. So we'll talk about that from time to time.
And you will notice that we're pretty one-sided with certain fighters.
Oh, definitely. Our favorites will be well known.
Yeah. And
I'll
you'll be able to pick that out really
gladly
quick.
admit that I'll put a couple of fighters' wieners in my mouth from time to time. That especially
And that's a
means
freebie.
one Mr. Connor McGregor, because we are drinking a certain whiskey that one may make one proper 12 whiskey, Irish whiskey. Let's say it like that. I do enjoy partaking in that beverage from time to time.
And I would say everybody needs to give it a try. And this isn't a sponsorship or anything like that. I would just say flat out, you need to give it a try.
Yeah, because we don't get paid by anybody.
Nope.
We both have other jobs, and that's part of the reason that we're not disclosing our names.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get fired for saying something kind of racist or kind of impartial to anybody. So, yeah, Proper 12 is great. So there's we're not gonna be unbiased towards our favorite fighters because we like talking about sports, but we especially like talking about the fighters and the sports athletes that we like.
Agreed.
So there will be
For sure.
some push towards the guys we like. And while we'll talk about sports, we'll also talk about the spots in our lives that we are. So, like I said, I'm married, have been for the better part of a decade. And he's actually in a relationship to where they're thinking about marriage. So we are in different
That was a hesitant
parts.
woo.
Yeah. We are in different parts of our relationships. So we'll talk about that. And an interesting fact is that we do have friends that are single. And being single in these times is a little tricky.
I think that's going to be really fun to talk about, especially with the friends that we have. Oh, man.
Definitely.
Like some have kids, some don't. Some are in, different relationships, biracial,
so
or
we do have
it's wild.
different scenarios that we'll talk about and that we will not disclose people's names. So we'll try to put that out there too. While you may think you know who we're talking about, you probably don't, because we're pretty tricky bastards and we like to make stuff up.
I like that. Like, you may think you know.
Like I'm gonna throw some random shit out there. Like in my stories, I know I'll put out some random semen spots everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad scene in CSI.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. My CSI
Blue light isn't going to do anything for anybody. It's going to be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blue light, sure. Like the blue light in my room, you're not gonna not see semen.
It's a natural. It almost looks like the walls are just painted.
Yeah, he's gonna be confused when he pulls his blue light out because it's gonna be extra blue everywhere.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be like, wait,
did they intend for this to be this way?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's an easy transition into our first story of the podcast. So
I really enjoy this story. Like, it makes me giggle just a little bit every time.
Pretty good story. So this first story is actually going to be about one of our single friends.
And let me just disclose, because I am a bigger guy.
You are.
I didn't know this was a thing until this was like hit on us a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And now that I know it's a thing, I kind of want to try, but at the same time, I don't want to hurt anybody because I'm a bigger guy.
If you try, you might suffocate somebody, and you are in a relationship, so you can't really try it with anybody else.
Oh, good point.
Your significant other. So that
she better get ready.
That significant other better get ready and better be able to hold her breath and be able to cover her nose, because hairs in the nose does not feel good.
Man, it tickles. Wait, what?
Yep. So let's get into this first story. This is going to be the first story of the podcast ever. So, a couple weeks ago, we are at a friends get together, and we have a particular friend. She's in her mid 20s to mid 30s. I'm not going to disclose how close she is to either way. So she is a single female. And her being in that age range, the natural transition to be in a relationship is to get into the dating websites. So there's Tinder, There is plenty of fish. There's
Mhm.
my personal favorite, grinder.
Hey.
I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know if you know what grinder is.
I don't.
But that's for gay males.
Oh.
yeah.
I expected that to be like you meet a stripper kind of
No,
thing.
man, that's the
I don't keep up with that stuff.
That's the me testosterone built 29-year-olds who are ready to rub and tug.
I feel like you're trying to put yourself out there a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm married, but I want to experiment.
Like you're going through your college phase right now.
Yeah, I miss that college phase with the military. So right now is my rubbing and tugging phase of life.
I feel you in like a glass room of all mirrors, just looking at yourself.
Definitely, I'm dancing in front of the mirror, lotioning.
I don't understand. Yeah, I was just thinking lotioned up, like you're glistening right now, man.
There is some cacao butter that I'm rubbing. I'm rubbing on my stretch marks, and I'm twirling my chest hair.
At least you're trying to keep your skin right.
That's true.
You know, I like that.
That's a natural body that I'm trying to keep natural.
Yeah, I respect that.
So let's get back to the story. She is a mid-20s to mid-30s young female. She is trying to find love in this crazy world. So she naturally uses the applications that technology has given her. So she invites a young man to her home. A young man that she has met a few times. No idea what they've done before or after. So she's invited this young man to her home. They proceed to have a good time of watching Netflix and hanging out. What the young kids tend to call Netflix and chill. So they do this. I don't know what happens on the couch because obviously I'm not there.
I'm never sitting on that couch again.
But I do hear the story of them ending up in the bed.
That couch was sticky.
And I don't know if you've ever been single with another young single person in a bed, but naturally you tend to make out and maybe rub on each other.
Rub-a-dub-dub.
And things tend to get hot and heavy.
Oh, man.
And you tend to make faces. You tend to make love faces like the song says. And so
you sound like the wackest Barry White ever. Just gonna put that
out
there.
I would say while I might not be the best Barry White, I'm easily top 10.
There's a list for that?
Definitely. There's a list for everything.
There must be.
I'll let you know that later.
I need that list.
So I'm easily top 10 Barry White. While I may not be top 5, I'm top 10. So I'll take that. And that's an accomplishment in itself. So these young adults, they're getting hot and heavy on a bed. And while some single folks, or at least while I was single, I didn't know about this move. This young man decides to bust an acrobatic move that is heard by all married men. Or at least it's heard by myself. Maybe not all married men, but I've busted this move out a time or two.
See, so maybe that's why I hadn't heard of it.
Maybe it could be possible.
Okay.
So, this young man decides that he's going to be a goddamn gymnast. And he does a goddamn front flip on a bed while his young female accomplice is on her back. And he throws his knees on her shoulders.
Pinned down.
So she has no way out. And she has a decision to make. Because if a guy pins you down on the bed with his knees on your shoulders, you've got inches to make a decision.
Inches.
You either go full-blown porn star and you goddamn vomit on the wee-wee.
Wow, that's some
It's graphic, right?
Wow, I didn't know you went that dark.
Oh yeah, I go that.
I didn't know you went that deep into porn, you know?
Actually, for the past 2 months, I haven't because my wife's pregnant, and I've made a vow. I am no masturbation, no porn for the entirety of this pregnancy.
Good man. Yeah, bravo to you.
But
yeah, I'm not gonna stop that ever.
But I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna hump a pillow or two. So I'll do that. But anyway, so this guy, let me proceed. This guy decides to bust that acrobatic move, knees on her shoulders, wee wee in her face, and she has a decision to make. And she makes that decision.
She sure does.
She busts on that wee wee. She punches him right in the dickhead.
We're talking full uppercut. Who?
We're talking Mike Tyson's punch out uppercut to that wee wee head.
Yeah. We're talking 91.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
So she uppercuts his wee wee. Obviously, I don't know if you've ever been punched in the dick.
See, I haven't. I don't plan on being punched in the dick. I don't know if that's a thing.
I've never.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if there's another list for that.
There might be. Actually, we might try to start that. This is number 1.
Best one so far.
Yeah, this is number 1, and now I'm probably gonna go to jail for dick punching in the next 2 months because I'm trying to build that list. I want that list to be
challenge accepted.
At least top 5 because I don't want to be in the top 5, so I want to be number 6.
I don't want to be on that list at all.
So she punches him in the dick, and then the situation is stalled at that point.
What do you say? What do you say to a girl? You think
if a girl busts an acrobatic move like that and ends up on my shoulders, luckily I'm not fucking with fat bitches, so I can throw her across the room through the window. No.
So
okay. So
no, not that at all.
So if a guy does it, I'm going full punch.
I'm saying, okay. So what? Put yourself in that guy's shoes. You think, okay, it's about to go down. This is our second, third date. She's already got me in the room. It's time to rock and roll. I'm gonna show her what I'm made of.
So I will interject this. Me being a married man, while I do not frown on this, I will admit to doing this.
You've done this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you've busted out the gold medal Olympic stance on this.
While it
the triple double.
I'll admit it was not a gold medal. It was probably I would probably say,
there's another list.
Yeah,
there's another list to this.
Definitely. I would probably say 5th or 6th place. I'm being completely honest. I'm not the most acrobatic person. I've got really bad ankles, so I was not able to stick the landing.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
My ankles roll really easily, but I did not fall.
Damn Tempur-Pedic.
So let's take this to my story. So we'll say it's around midnight, and remember that I have a child. So my wife has been up since probably about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, dealing with a fussy 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old, somewhere around that range. So I was just getting off of nights, freshly shaven, because I like to shave whenever I get off of nights, because that's when I have the most time to do it. Because most of the time when I'm off, I gotta shower with my wife, so I can't shave my balls.
You can't manscape at that time.
I can't get inside that tank, and get them few little straggly hairs.
You can't turn the weed eater on and get to work.
No,
you know what I mean?
I can't get deep in them crevices. I can't do what I likes to do and get deep in them wrinkles.
See, I feel like when you're doing this, it's a time for enjoyment. When I'm doing this, it's another task. Like it's something I have to do, so I'm gonna go and do it. I
enjoy knowing that I get deep inside my body and get them hairs that ain't no one gonna see. So anyway, I just got done with my landscaping, and it's around midnight. My baby's asleep in her room. Don't think we're weirdos. We're not trying to do the doo-da with her in the room. She's in her own room across the house. So we got all the privacy we need.
There's a living room in between that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Even if there was just a sheet in between us, I would have been happy with it. So it's around midnight. My wife is asleep, and I'm feeling kind of frisky. So I decide, hey, man, I'd like to try something. And this is the first time I've tried it. It's not the last, but I'm going to try it nonetheless. So I decide I'm going to do a goddamn front flip and land on her shoulders. Luckily, I didn't put both their shoulders out of socket, and I was
I
able
was
to
just
stick
thinking
that
that could have
landing.
turned out into the emergency room really quick.
And she had a decision to make. She didn't make it. I made it for her, and I forced her to do the action that I wanted.
Huh.
While some of you might say that is rude and crude, I say, hey, that's marriage. Sometimes I've got to masturbate and live with it. Sometimes we've got to do the do, and she's got to live with it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the story of.
I
married
mean,
man
honestly,
doing
when
that.
you say the vows like "till death do us part," that's in there.
Yeah, that's
It may not be something spoken in front of people, but
sometimes,
it's there.
Sometimes you got to read between the lines.
Exactly.
That's the real
it's like,
question.
You know, when they want you to look at the fine print, well, in that time, they want you to look at the fine print, magnifying glass. You need to be aware of what you're getting yourself into, ladies, because you say, "Oh, I want to be married someday. It's gonna be so great." You got a dick on your face now. Is it that great?
So
Because now you got two.
I will say this too. I didn't just go straight insertion. Like it was kind of like, hey, on your shoulders, I'm gonna wake you up.
Oh,
So,
you tap it.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
okay.
you did the tap dance. Not like I wasn't like tapping on her mouth. It was forehead wake
Oh,
up.
okay.
Like, hey, look, spring up.
Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm doing.
Look at this trick I'm busting out.
Yeah, okay.
Hope I'm not hurting your shoulders. So I busted that out, and whatever happened after that is two consenting adults decided to do what they wanted to do. But that's from a married man's perspective, and this is a single man. I don't know if he was trying to get in a relationship or just trying to get it in, but this is his story, and this is her story that we are telling. So what idea do you have?
For me, I'm still in the new phases of relationship. We've only been living together for a year now, so it's still the honeymoon phase. So for me, it's not that complicated where I need to do acrobatics, I guess. But at the same time, I'm not gonna try that. I might slip a disc. You know, my hip might come out of place. I would definitely dislocate her shoulders.
Yeah, she does got some tiny baby shoulders.
Yeah, those are going out of place quick.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't want to do that because then no handies.
Yeah, you know? So, for me, I'm thinking for that guy, first off, and I'm sticking with this, I think. He's thinking fair game, everything's open, we're ready to rock and roll. Like, hey, you know, somebody hit the ignition switch. Let's do this, you know? But maybe for her, and I haven't asked her this, but I probably should, was she thinking, where was this going to go? What did you think was going to happen? I mean,
that is a point to be made. I don't know. Like when you invite somebody over, maybe you have one idea.
It's going to be this great, passionate 50 Shades of Grey kind of like...
that kind of was 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah. This is going to be some great... Yeah, my bad.
Man, maybe I want to have some regular intercourse. Let's do some...
Yeah, it's going to be some great, regular, you know, just one and done,
what's
you know...
the position, regular ass position that everybody
missionary?
busts out, missionary. Maybe she's like, man, let's have some missionary sex.
Yeah.
Maybe she's busting out the goddamn cracker. Like,
next thing you know, he's like, hey, put your legs behind your head. You're going to pretzel, and I'm going to lift you up and throw you in the closet, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a little weird.
No, I mean, all right. But yeah, I mean, maybe the guy thought in his head, like, okay,
I don't know.
She's game.
That's a big question, right? It's like, what's your expectations going into that? Because obviously I haven't been single, especially during this whole fucking app era.
That's another thing. Some of these guys and girls get on these apps, and and they post themselves as like freaks ready for that one night get out. You know, hey, who's into butt stuff?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, but they put that. Back page. What was that the back?
Back pages, yes.
Yeah.
Houston Back Pages is a pretty popular site that young males and females tend to go to get some. Relief.
Finish him. You know what I mean?
Relief of some stress. And while this may not be a new thing to some people. It may be a new thing to others. So be sure to check that out and be sure to mention us in the comments because I'll appreciate that money. But there is an expectations thing on this whole app situation. So
is it wild? Now that I'm thinking about that, though.
Do you just bust out on your your homepage that I just want a certain thing, or do you confuse them? Do you say that you want a relationship and
well, see, I've been on those before prior to relationship. Is that I've seen some where it's like not looking for any type of relationship at this time, looking for something just for pleasure, you know. And then there's some that's more. But then there is some that's discreet about it. They're like, oh yeah, well, really, I don't want to come off this way or da 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 da. But they're like, hey, come give me that D, you know, give me that deep D.
So that's another thing too. To look at the whole situation is our female friend. She may have had one thing in her mind. Well, all right. Honestly, let's say even if you're in there just looking for sexual relief,
right?
Unless you ask for it, is it okay for some guy to just jump and pin you down and just wee right to the face? Like that's.
I don't want to speak for the women around the world, but I would imagine it's probably a no.
So me being, and obviously been married as long as I have, and before that being in the relationship building up to the marriage. So that's not something I'd bust out a year into the relationship. Like
that's not first year move.
That's married a couple of years and like, oh man, I want some relief. Like that was my idea on foreplay.
You know though, that's a good point. That is a good point. Okay, so you've been married for so long. You bust that move and it's kind of like to your wife, your significant other, it might be a cuter thing, like, oh,
or it might
okay,
be like, this motherfucker really wants to do this. Let me grab his dick and rip it off.
In a pleasureful way?
I don't know if there's a pleasureful, which is not a real word, way to rip a dick off.
I make my own words up.
Yeah. But I will say this: with me, it seems a little more playful. With a guy just straight up meeting a girl, it seems rapey.
I was just thinking, man, as you're telling the story, I'm like, okay, this is coming off Bill Cosby style.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, somebody's about to get a pudding pop at the end of this.
But I will say this. I'm not judging Bill Cosby for what he did because this was the 60s and 70s. So, let's be serious. Chemistry was not as great as it is today.
And how are you going to sue? How are you going to sue, like, a 90-year-old man and say he touched your butt?
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. If a 90-year-old man touched my booty,
you're talking about 40, 50 years ago.
If he touched my booty 40 or 50 years ago, I might not sue him, but I may go up to him and be like, "Hey man, give me some pudding pop money."
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely getting that pudding pop money.
I love me give me a fudge bar. Give me some fucking chocolate sauce on my face.
I need some of that Jello money ASAP.
He might fucking drug me again and give me some chocolate sauce.
In the worst way possible.
Bill Cosby growing pain sauce.
Okay, I don't know if I can go on this tangent yet, but I still feel strongly that the whole Cardi B thing.
That is an interesting twist, right? While obviously,
same exact thing.
Obviously, we don't know all the details, but there's a question to be asked. So, there was a rumor brought up that Miss Cardi B.
No rumor.
No, it's not a rumor. It's factual. She wrote it in her book, coming from her own mouth. But I don't know. She has a book. I don't know the actual details. So, from what I've heard, it's been said that when she was, I don't know the word for it, a dancer, an adult entertainer.
There you go.
She would talk to some young men and convinced them to go to her place of residence, or maybe it was a hotel. Maybe it was one of them hotels that you rent for 2 hours.
Hotel.
And they have the vibration beds, and they have the TVs that have Showtime on it. So she goes to one of them hotels, and she's talking to this guy and doing stuff that he may think is fun. And they partake in some alcoholic beverages, and she ends up dropping on accident a drug that may knock this guy out. So he drinks the drink, he knocks out, and she somehow finds her way out of the hotel with some of the things that belong to him.
Shoes, wallet,
Money,
phones, credit cards, car keys.
So that was the big thing that rose up from this. How is that situation any better than the Bill Cosby situation?
To me it's one and the same. I feel like.
Is it one and the same?
I would say so, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, she had to do what she had to do in order to make it." Bill Cosby was already famous.
Well, I
don't think drugging and stealing from anybody is okay.
Let me raise this question: is it if you scenario pops up, if you have the chance, one Mr. Hitler comes to your strip club, and you're shaking your booty in his face, and the chance arises that you can drug him and steal that mustache off of his face and find a way to kill him. Do you take that?
I mean,
or do you let it go?
So you're asking me, do I stop the Holocaust?
Yes. Holocaust.
Yeah.
All right. So does that make you any different than Cardi B?
I feel like that makes me a whole lot better than Cardi B and Bill Cosby. Fuck his pudding pops. I just saved the Holocaust. So yeah, I feel like
I think you, Cardi B, and Bill Cosby are in the same boat. Oh, drugging and raping. Which that makes it an easy transition to the next question I have for you, sir.
All right.
There was a rumor that was brought up last week. Sometime last week, that one of our favorite fighters, a Mr. Connor McGregor himself, there were some rape allegations thrown around about him. What do you think about that?
You know, when we talked about this, I thought, okay, it's kind of crazy that somebody would come up with this right now. The reason I say that is because last year, Connor McGregor came out to be one of the wealthiest, if not probably the wealthiest.
Well, you know,
fighter.
I think it was
he even got paid more than Floyd Mayweather.
He did.
$99 million last year.
Well, no, but you realize that for that fight, Mayweather got paid like double what McGregor did.
But they're saying because of his sales and his stock.
Well, yeah, that's possible.
So I just think it's funny that
fight,
okay, so she claims that in December, right after the what is it, the richest, like Forbes list of richest athletes.
Well, that was
hits
the thing
the market.
too, is like
after she sues
the richest or the most
wealthiest.
The wealthiest athletes came in, and Mr. Conor McGregor came in the top 10. He was the top, what's it called? He was the top fighter, whether taking in boxing or MMA. He was the top fighter to come in, and that was something. That
you're talking $99 million. I'm surprised he hasn't been sued more than once.
Before this accusation came up or gained popularity, I don't know when it actually came up or when the charges were made or anything. I don't even know if there was charges made. But
there's not. To this day, there still hasn't been any charges that are actually made.
There was the rumor that in his homeland of Ireland, there are some investigations going on about some rumors about his sexual inconveniences happening with a female.
You know, but this happens to every
it does
big fighter.
That is one thing.
But big athlete, big
anybody that
artist,
has money.
Anybody that has money is going to get sued for rape.
So there are.
It's almost a common thing now.
There are going to be accusations that are thrown around with people that have money because there is this goal of every American, not just Americans, just every person in general trying to get an easy payday. So while that is thrown around, there also has to be some
But
truth or some
they do this, and there's no repercussion. That's why.
That is true.
It's like, I think maybe 2 years ago, and it's actually becoming more and more common where some of these young up-and-comer athletes out of college are getting some of these cases put on them, and it turns out some of them haven't been true lately.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they're coming back and they're saying, "Oh well, it wasn't like that. That's not what happened. I'm sorry. This, that, and the other," and they're getting like 6 months of probation. You just took away a whole career from someone.
That is one thing that needs to be brought up, is that if there is some accusations that are brought up and there you have no push, like there's no realism towards them and there's no truth backing them up, there needs to be some repercussions for that, because you shouldn't be able to push someone down in order for you to gain
your 15 minutes of fame, right? You know?
Like, somebody shouldn't be able to take something from someone, even though it's not true. Like, that's not something that should happen. But while that was brought up with one Connor McGregor, there was another controversy. There was something else that, while I think it is hilarious, others may not think it's hilarious. So, there was a tweet put out towards Conor McGregor's most hated rival. One, Khabib. I'm not going to say this right, but let's go with Khabib Nurmagomedov. So, he is currently the 155-pound UFC champion. And him and one Mr. Conor McGregor fought probably close to a year ago. And he...
Has it been that long? That's crazy.
Pretty close. He dominated Conor McGregor. He won the outright championship. And he created some drama himself afterwards. So, after the fight, he jumped into the crowd at one of Conor McGregor's teammates. And actually, Conor McGregor's teammates may have landed some punches, and I don't know if you know.
We had a small all-out riot inside the ring and outside the ring. There was a lot of things going on with that, and there was his ringside people actually did land punches on there that got assault charges pressed on them.
Yeah,
if I'm right.
Well, no. They Conor McGregor had the chance to press charges on him, but Conor McGregor, being the G that he is, he decided, nah, I'm good.
That's so
I'll
gangster.
settle this on my own.
Yeah.
So those guys walked.
Conor McGregor.
Those guys walked free. Like I said, Khabib ended up jumping at one of Conor's teammates, and Conor's teammate landed some punches.
Got that 2-piece and a biscuit real quick on a Tuesday.
And, if you know this about one of Conor's teammates, or if you know this about Khabib, he's not known for being able to throw punches. He's not the puncher. He'll wrestle you, and he'll dominate you on the feet or on the ground, and he'll throw punches while you're down.
You know, it's funny that he is they say a dominant fighter, but he's dominant in one level only.
Oh yeah, definitely. So anyway, that ended up happening probably close to a year ago. And here recently, they've thrown little jabs at each other, and I don't know if Khabib may have thrown a picture up on Instagram or whatever he did, but there was a certain individual named Conor McGregor that may have left a comment or may have thrown a jab out there. Me personally, I thought it was funny. So, Mr. Khabib's wife, at their wedding ceremony, was in a white veil, so you couldn't see her face, and she was on a chair right next to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and a certain individual that may or may not have been named McGregor left a comment. This comment said, "Did you marry?" Or don't quote me on this, but it was this is the gist of it. Did you marry a towel? 'Cause there was no face on it. So,
Conor McGregor's got to have the biggest set of nuts. I swear, this dude's nuts got to be bigger than basketballs to be able to say the shit he said throughout his career. And he doesn't have the craziest long career in the world, but the drama that he's brought with his career and saying shit like that is amazing.
Mr. Conor McGregor's career in the UFC, at least, it has been interesting. He
Definitely
has broadened eyes to the sport, and he's made it interesting all the time. With this comment, there's a lot of backlash. People are saying he's racist. He's a horrible guy. I don't agree with that, man. I think there has to be a realization that, especially on social media like that, because you're able to put out exactly what you want. There's no there's no buffer. If
Right.
you think something, you can put it out there. So Conor McGregor, being the person that he is, having probably no one stop him from doing the things he does, he's throwing what he wants out there. So he threw this out there. Me personally, I thought it was funny because I don't take anything too serious. A lot of people aren't taking it like that. So, hey, take it as you want it. I think it's funny. I
Agreed.
think stuff like this can make fighting interesting. Stuff like this is going to build up a fight, just like the dolly in the goddamn window. So I'm okay with it. What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, you're trying to make sure one of your jobs as a fighter, first off, is to make sure that you put fans in the seats. This little jab to Connor was a little jab. I mean, it's just something that on social media, of all things, to put something out there to ruffle some feathers, to make sure that they get the promotion that they need for this next fight. But at the same time, look at what it's getting behind it. I personally, honestly, because I don't take too many things like that seriously, I think it's hilarious. A lot of people might see it as other than that. It might not be funny to some, but to me, it's funny. It's hilarious. Hey, man, let's see what Nurmagomedov is gonna say now to that. What is he gonna say next?
That's another subject to be brought up. Is why is something like this thought of so seriously? Like, why is the first thought that this is so disrespectful to the Muslim religion? Why isn't it just a joke? Like, can't somebody just say something without thinking of it and just make a jab at somebody? Like, we got to realize, and that's another thing too, is like, all right, so Nurmagomedov put it out there before this that MMA is a respect sport. Why is it a respect sport? You're trying to go in there and knock somebody out and hurt somebody as much as possible. That's not respectful.
Agree.
There's certain aspects of it that are respectful. All right, so if somebody's down on the ground, knocked out, yes, you shouldn't continue to pound on them. But at the end of the day, you're still trying to make sure that somebody hurts more than you do, right? Like,
Every single time.
You're trying to make them quit before you do, period. And there is a lot of respect in it. I'll admit that. While there is respect in it, there has to be a realization that you've got to build up a fight. If you don't build up a fight, there's not as many eyes on it. And if there's not as many eyes on it, you don't get as much money. So Conor McGregor was building up the fight, period. He was trying to get more eyes on a fight that really wasn't that popular. As popular as Conor McGregor is, Nurmagomedov is the complete opposite. He doesn't say much. He doesn't build up fights. He doesn't do anything like that. He's just going in there to do his job. So Conor McGregor was trying to build something up out of nothing, and he did his job. And he, in that aspect of it, he probably angered Nurmagomedov more than anybody else has, and that probably built up to the whole action of him jumping out of the cage and trying to drop kick somebody and missing completely, and him getting punched by some
Getting
random
that 2-piece and a biscuit on Tuesday.
So hey, man, at the end of the day, you realize you both got paid. You both walked away in good condition.
Yeah,
So
I
be
would say
happy
to
about that.
Khabib, honestly, he can get mad all day long, but unfortunately for you, Conor McGregor paid for your wedding. I mean, I know that's kind of shitty
I
for me
think
to
he
say.
was probably married before that.
Oh well, I'm saying okay, the house that you probably just bought, or
He
you know what I'm saying, like all this.
He actually lives with his parents.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
He doesn't spend his money.
What?
So maybe he paid for Khabib's waxing of some sort, because you know Russians are hairy as shit.
You're joking.
About Russians being hairy? No, they're still hairy.
He does not live with his parents.
Oh yeah, definitely. He lives with his parents. He doesn't spend any of his money. He's all about fighting, and I'll give him that credit.
Wow.
I think that Khabib is probably one of the best fighters in the UFC. Definitely.
Ground game wise?
Ground game wise.
Okay.
Wrestling wise, he's probably top 2, top 3.
For sure.
Definitely. Overall MMA fighters.
But we're talking about, this is MMA. This is everything you got. This is jiu-jitsu. This is wrestling. This is everything. I want to know.
His wrestling is able to dominate everybody else's aspects. He's able to dominate anybody that's able to.
Has he been clipped before? I don't
know.
Yeah.
Johnson was the
Anthony Rumble Johnson?
No.
Yeah. Oh God, that would have took his head off.
That would have been trouble. No. Black guy, Johnson. He's in that same division. I think he fought Diaz, your boy, Nate Diaz.
Shout out to the Diaz brothers.
He actually fought Mr. Tony Kukoy Ferguson.
Did he lose against Ferguson?
I don't think so, actually.
Oh man, I can't wait to talk about that too.
What's his name? He fought a bunch of people in that division. Hopefully you can find it while you're Googling on your phone. Couple of seconds.
It's not. Well, it's not him for sure.
Yeah, you're definitely not finding it, are you? God damn. We can always.
I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna look up fighters who have fought Nurmagomedov. The Eagle.
Michael Johnson.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it took you way longer than it took me. So he fought Michael Johnson. What were you talking about? Oh yeah, he was clipped. He was clipped by Michael Johnson. I mean, but that's all fucking up for debate. You don't know if he was just off balance. You don't know if he had a bad weight cut, because he did have trouble making that weight for a while, and he might have trouble making that weight now. And,
he beat Edson Barboza.
Edson.
Yeah.
Edson Barboza. Yeah, he beat him. He dominated him on the ground.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I like that guy. That guy's a good fighter.
He just lost to. He just lost to Gaethje.
Really?
Knocked out.
Oh no! Really?
Yeah, man,
damn, I didn't even see
last
that.
Weekend or the weekend
really?
before that. Yeah,
oh man.
Gaethje knocked him out.
I'm gonna have to look up that knockout.
Yeah. So hopefully, Conor McGregor's.
But where does that put Conor McGregor? Say they have another fight. Say McGregor wins this next fight. I mean, what does he do from there? Now he's got a belt. Does he defend it? I mean, the dude is making money off of Proper 12. He's got a clothing line coming up.
That's a big thing too.
Guy could run for
Conor McGregor is making
president of Ireland. You know,
so much money now, and he has that money from the whole Mayweather fight, to where he doesn't really have to fight, but if he enjoys it, he can. So you've got that idea in your head, you know, do you continue to fight even though you like it? Or
do you keep putting yourself through that?
It's that Rocky Balboa scenario, right? Like, do you get soft when you get the money?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a good point.
do you lose that edge?
Do you got a
Or-
robot in your driveway? I mean,
it's
you
true.
know?
Do you got what was it? Short circuit rocking around your house? the whole
Yeah,
time?
you know?
It's kind of that question, man. Like, you know, I think Conor McGregor, when he was great, you know? And I think he made the mistake of trying to beat Khabib at his own game.
Yeah, agreed.
He didn't focus on his strengths. He focused on Khabib's strengths. So he tried to not get taken down, but he wasn't focusing on throwing while he was up. And that's just my opinion. So obviously I'm not an MMA coach. Obviously I'm not fucking anything enthroned in the whole MMA world. That's just my only opinion. It may not hold very much weight in anybody else's mind, but that's just me. But I don't think he focused on his strengths and he tried to negate the strengths of Khabib. And he didn't do bad. He lasted 3 rounds, which is okay because he didn't throw his hands like he normally
At
does.
all.
He didn't seem comfortable. But I think him on his best night is as good as anybody. But you can say that about any other fighter too, right? You could say fucking Kevin Lee is just as good as anybody else on his best night. You can say Tony El Kakoi Ferguson is as good as fucking Conor McGregor or Nurmagomedov. But it's MMA, so things can be changed in the blink of an eye.
Easily. I mean, the snap of the finger, you can be the man on
small
top.
ass gloves. But I'll say this. As long as Conor McGregor is fighting, I'll watch.
Every time.
As long as the UFC is putting fights out there, I'll probably watch.
You know, it's the same thing like Silva.
I'll watch Silva's next fight, and he's like 3rd on their lineup.
Yeah. And he can be the opener of the pay-per-view. He can be, you know...
He can be UFC Fight Pass, and I'll be sure to download the UFC
I'm going to be
Fight
watching
Pass.
it. I'm going to be watching it.
So as long as the UFC is putting out them same hitters, I'll watch.
I'm going to watch.
As soon as they stop doing that, though, I'll probably stop.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to watch garbage, but I'll be willing to pay for the premium.
Yeah.
And actually now it's probably a good stopping point to throw out there. So this was just kind of a test period. This is kind of a test run for the whole.
It was fun. I liked it.
Supposedly grown podcast. Hopefully we can gain some supporters, and hopefully we can find a way to make this somewhat popular. And we're going to try to continue to put out podcasts probably at least once every 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, depending on our schedules. But we're going to try to make this a regular occurrence. Like I said, this is going to be an excuse for us to hang out and drink a little bit of proper 12
whoop, whoop.
And other things that are keto friendly. So it was good to have a chat with you, sir. If you have any parting messages, you can give it to them now.
Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Alrighty, man. Y'all have a good night, and hopefully we'll hear back from y'all. If not, it was good to talk to y'all. See you later, buddies.